Good morning. Welcome to our bi-weekly talk show on technology, including AI, brought to you by the Virtual Film Company here on spatial.io. Today we've got a bunch of topics for you, and we're actually going to be changing the format. We're going to try and make this shorter than our typical hour. And our first topic of the day is what other than Sora. I think that's everyone's topic of the day over the last week. And I'm going to start off by handing it over to Chris.
Yay, thanks. Right, yeah, we want to be a little bit shorter, so we hope that we get all the topics done in 25 minutes or 20 minutes. So yeah, the first topic is OpenAI Sora. So I called this here today the Sora shock because I think the quality that we could see with this video generation model from OpenAI was really a shock to some people because again, the quality of those shown demo videos were really, really, really insane in a way. It was incredible. And well, I think first we should give a little impression by watching a video. Is that okay for you guys?
Yeah, I was blown away when I saw some of these things that this thing was doing. I'm like, wow.
Right. So I have to move our brilliant camera here so that we can face the whole thing. And now I will move over that and we can roll the video. It's not too long, about 2 minutes. So those are your
Wow. Wow, you couldn't even film that shot. That's like impossible stuff to do. I've seen some people post like AI is people. This is a fad. People are going to be done with it. And seeing stuff like this, it's like, nope, it's only begun.
Yeah, we can pick out some things and talk about single images or whatever, but just to give the impression, it's incredible.
Yeah, but it's also, I think, natural progression. So, copy attracted to that style, but it's what everyone's wanted.
I mean, is this just like your imagination is endless? Look at that cat on a throne. Like, come on. The animals are going to be represented here for sure of what they can do. It's amazing.
What we've had previous in that the technology is getting better, but one still needs to be able to put an underlying story together to have anything make sense. I mean, just shots, video shots, random video shots are all very well, but
Yeah, like confetti turning into a lion. Yeah, I mean, there needs to be some purpose. Why did that confetti make the lion just appear?
yeah, I mean, it brings us to question one of the things that I ask myself is that in many cases, I believe still images can actually tell more of a story than random video.
Yeah, for sure. I
Well,
mean,
they're... Go ahead, Chris.
sorry. When you work with movies or documentaries, or if you're making whatever kind of short films, first will always be the story. There's no doubt about that. Sora, Unreal, whatever kind of tool you're using, it will never ever help you when you don't have a good story, if you don't have a good idea, if you don't know where your story is going to, you don't have an appealing whatever main character. So that will never change, in my opinion, when you tell a story. But to be able to tell a story, you needed a lot of money and a lot of help. And now you can do that with a text prompt. And I think that is the game changer. Everyone is able to do
100%.
that now.
100%. Some of these animations you're seeing, like, to me, when I see it, it's like, how much money would it have cost me to hire an animator to create this if they could create it?
100%.
That, go ahead, Chris.
No, sorry. I mean, I guess that a lot of those shots that we saw here normally would have been done by a visual effects artist, 3D animated. If it's those bicycle riding sea creatures coming out of the sea, for example, oh, I don't think that anyone would do that with men in suits like they did that with Godzilla in the 60s or whatever. Today, they would do that with 3D animation. And if you have 10 or 20 characters riding bicycles for a commercial or for a movie, whatever, well, you can imagine that this might cost in a good quality several 10,000s to 100,000s of dollars. And if you can do that within 10 minutes, let's say, from a text prompt, something is probably happening for all the people in the visual effects industry, in my opinion.
No, definitely.
Yeah, they better learn how to write some good prompts.
No, I think it's a progression of what we've been seeing. I mean, big breakthrough that came with image generation, for example, was diffusion technology. And one of the problems with diffusion technology is that focused on creating one image and not on consistency. And we've evolved to be able to take latent diffusion, cascading diffusion, different types of diffusion models, excuse me, that can now run over time. And, as far as I know, there is no explanation yet to how this is being done. I mean, I've heard some pretty preposterous things like having Unreal running in the background and generating stuff. But, basically what OpenAI has said is that, during the creation of DALL-E, they have really, that's one of the reasons that, and I'm surprised that Midjourney hasn't done this, because if you have images with descriptions, surely when you have videos with descriptions, you can do the same thing. And, the only thing that I see standing in the way here is sheer horsepower. I mean, I can't imagine what kind of, energy is being used to create 1 minute of this type of video.
Right, for sure. I guess that they're using the latest and greatest of NVIDIA technology, like the H100 processors, GPUs here, to probably several of them to generate those videos in an amount of time of 5 to 10 minutes or whatever. So, yeah, this is not available to anyone at the moment. I guess that in the first step, they will roll this out for companies that are making commercials or whatever, and they can pay $1,000 per minute. That's not a big problem. And
Oh, yeah.
again, if they save 100,000 on their visual effects that they would have to spend normally, they will be happy about that price. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think some of the people that are smart, that have really teams, they are lining up to meet with these people and say, how much do I need to pay for this? and then teaching their team how to use this, because this stuff is not going to be perfect out of the gate. And still, I mean, I look at it off how powerful this tool is with a professional using it that already has to do things, and a director that can really direct a team. They can work very efficiently and more amazing stuff can be created.
Well, one of the rumors is that it is going to be able to take multiple 1-minute clips and be able to fill in the keyframes between those clips, which I think, really opens it up to making a movie, because ultimately if it can't do that and you're stuck with a minute, and yeah, you can do a lot of commercial stuff in a minute, but uh, having consistency change from minute to minute would not be good. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this. But it's the way things have been going. I mean, if you look at Pika, Runway, I mean, their models are based on isolating elements from image, the text prompt, whatever, and then animating those elements. But the problem is that, it's like doing it, rotoscoping it. You have a background, say, of waves or something like that, and a fish that's swimming over the waves, and the background remains static, and the fish moves. That's where we're at with some.
I thought like those elephants running and the smoke coming up and just things that would be so hard to shoot, so difficult to animate, and just seeing it done so seamlessly is, I mean, we could do a whole show on this thing, but considering our show is only supposed to be 20 minutes and we already spent 12 minutes on the first topic, I do think we could carry on.
So, Chris, what is our next topic?
Right. So that was the first shock, let's say. That was the Sora shock. And after that comes another interesting thing, and that is a new model. Well, that's the big question. If it's a new model, it's an interims model, I think, an in-between model from Stability AI. And that one is called Stable Cascade. So I have to bring up the image. I did some little experiments here. So I did a prompt in DALL-E, and I did a prompt in Stable Cascade, especially also to see if text writing, that is always a problem on generative AI images, is getting better. And I will show the picture a little bit bigger now. So there are some cats sitting. So the prompt was like 3 cats are sitting, and they have placates with the writing or the saying like, "We want the mouse," or "Give us the mouse." And I did that in
That's awesome.
And I did that in Stable Cascade. The upper 2 ones are in Stable Cascade, and you see on all of those images, I think all of them are quite nice. They are definitely representing what the prompt wanted. 3 cats sitting on a street and having placates, and they are saying, "We want the mouse." But yeah, that's the point now. What are they really saying? On the one image from Stable Cascade, they say, "Give us a mouse." It's not correct. On the other one, they say, "We want the mouse." And on the next one, it's just mouse. Okay. DALL-E 3 is a little bit better, but they also do not write the whole sentence. It's not "give us the mouse," it's "give us mouse." And one of them has "give the mouse," but no one has "give us the mouse." So, however, you can argue now what is better, what is worse. I still think that DALL-E 3 has a little bit an advantage here, but we can see that Stable Cascade is coming nearer. So it's listening much better to the prompt, and text writing is getting better, even in Stable Diffusion SDXL. you couldn't get good text writing. So now it's getting better.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that I was surprised with generating images when I dove in was you would think that you're putting the text in exactly how you want it spelled. And you're like, how is this thing not able to spell when you're giving it the exact spelling as like, that is a mystery. I felt like that was a great mystery of how is, I thought that they would definitely get that right of anything.
Yeah, but you have to realize that it's vector based, and so there would have to be something that reads the text beforehand, checks for spelling and context.
Well, it's interpreting. It's interpreting when you're telling it what you want it to say. Like that's kind of Anyways, that's my observation. I mean, of it's doing this super complex thing, making it look amazingly beautiful, and it's like it's an easy word to spell, and you're like, oh, so. But again, you could Photoshop the spelling wrong of the name. Like
For
it's
sure.
not like you couldn't use the image. So anybody who has any kind of skills with design, that's an easy fix.
That's an easy fix, right? It's just the question. Yeah, I was asking myself the same question. Why didn't they have some functionality in there that would do the correct spelling? But anyways, okay. I mean, we won't probably dive too much into this. We have some more topics and we want to be fast today. So let's go to the next one, basically. And yeah, what else do we have? We have another interesting model coming from TikTok, and that is called Boximator. Um,
Mm.
it's an interesting approach. It's, well, I guess more a method than a model. And it's helping people using generative AI to animate those images, because still animation in generative AI is not that simple at the moment. And I have a little video here that I can show to that. That will give us a little idea how Boximator is basically working. Turn the camera here again, go a little bit nearer. So like this. And let's see what this Boximator basically can do. Right, to start the video.
Here are two examples where Boximator moves a boy towards a girl to kiss her and moves two boxers according to their respective motion paths in an intense fight. Here are two examples where Boximator controls how a man drinks coffee and how an anime girl plays piano. Please pay attention to the trajectory of their hands. Here are two examples where the Spider-Man swings towards the camera and a hamster walking away from the camera. Users generate these motions by drawing bigger or smaller boxes. Here are
This
two
is just
examples
amazing.
where a girl raises her hands up to the frame and a bird flying out of the frame. Users draw boxes near the frame boundary to control moving in and moving out. Here are two examples where the user draws boxes around objects that don't move on their own, which forces the camera to move or rotate in the desired direction.
Yeah, I mean, the
Here are
thing that
two examples where motion control happens on a pixel-style video and a watercolor-style video. They demonstrate that Boximator works for different artistic styles. Thanks for
Wow.
listening to the talk. For more information, please visit the Boximator website or check out our paper.
All these
no,
kids that are on that thing, they're them learning how to like this technology being presented to like, let's say a teenager that's just like getting into creativity. It's just so mind blowing of like where this is going to go and what they're going to be able to do. I'm like, wow, watching this. Amazing.
no, definitely. I think TikTok was Spite, I guess, was smart to implement this. But this brings up a question to me in that if you look at Runway, for example, they have a similar thing that works on brushes. They have 5 brushes you can brush or paint different parts of the image and then attach various cameras to those brushes. And Pika has something similar as well. The problem that
Yeah.
I see is that, there's still stretching going on. The movements aren't as fluid as they could be. And so, I think this is going to be, again, a case of there's certain things that will animate well, and there's certain things that just not animate, no matter how much you try.
Right, getting real good animation of a hand, like lifting the coffee mug or whatever, right? But I have to say, I tested also the Pika and the runway, and I could not test the Boximator yet. But I have to say, what I see from that video, Boximator is far better at the moment than, for example, the motion brush. When you make the same thing with the motion brush in one way, like lift the coffee mug, it looks like the whole arm is just going up. It's just all the pixels are copied on the y-axis up, and that is not really animation. It's just shifting pixels, in my opinion.
Now there's,
So
Yeah,
with one motion brush, now there's 5. So that makes a
yeah.
big difference. A lot of work
Well,
to
I
get
think
it
it's
right.
an art, right? But it's an art. I feel like the runway is a more advanced version. This is for kids, like to me, it's like the teenager, learning how to, this first version of it, learning how to do a good motion and training it. Obviously, they're training it on motion, which is one of the smartest things that, that to me looks like they focused on that. And I don't know,
right.
pretty damn impressive. I think it's like interesting again, right? These big platforms, they're putting money into products. Very smart for TikTok to put money into this one because it allows their users to not leave their apps, still within their platform, produce content for them and continue to evolve the training. So, I mean, smart.
Well,
Definitely,
it also
100%.
it brings up the question of how good does this have to be if it's going to be viewed on a smartphone? I mean, that's is if it's going to be
Anyways,
viewed on a. Go ahead.
I think it's definitely in the end interesting to see that also TikTok is moving in here, and the approach with the boxes, I think it's really smart. Anyways, we will have to jump to the last probably topic now, and that is, yeah, our friends from Google, and they announced a new model called Gemini 1.5 Pro. So to change the image again here, that is something that also impresses people at the moment, because here we are talking about a large language model, or better, a multimodal model that is able to do a lot of things. We know that we had Google Bard, that is gone. Bard also is not existent anymore. It's called Gemini, and
I
now the
love that we were just
1.5.
talking about Bard like 2 weeks ago. This just shows you how fast technology is moving. Nope, already moved past that name.
Right. And yeah, it's just, we cannot use it at the moment. It's just an introduction. And they showed that it is able, for example, to handle 1 million, was it? Tokens. Is that correct, John? The amount of um, models that they could get at the moment. Enormously immense amount of tokens. So that means you could read text files of I think 50 times more than with the small models. So that they had some examples. I didn't prepare them here, where they showed, for example, that they used the whole transcript of the moon landing, where everything's written down from the moon landing. Every sentence from the Apollo astronauts is written in there, and they gave this multi-model AI a simple drawing, a drawing of a foot, of a little foot on on the ground and said, find me this context in this transcript. So there was just this little simple drawing, and it was searching for the timestamp when the astronauts just came on the surface of the moon. And it had
Yeah, I
to
mean,
find this, just to finish this shortly, and it had to find this point in the transcript, and it did. So that is really amazing.
yeah, no, I mean, I actually do have access to it, and yeah, you were correct. It's 1 million tokens, but I was able to generate 80 pages of text out of it, which really
Wow.
impressed me. But it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I mean, last time we met 2 weeks ago, we were talking about Google and needing to come up with a a suite of products. And in the background in Google Labs, they do have this FX suite of products, which one day may or may not launch. But I think it's pretty confusing. And just on this topic, before we close out, the big problem that I see is, I'm starting to be hit up by all of these companies to pay to play. If you want the latest and greatest, it's only $20 a month. But I mean, how many language models does one need? How many image generators does
Oh,
one
it's
need?
true. Well, that's for Johnny GPT. That is a big question for you there of how many do you need? Because I don't know. How many do you need? Like for me, I'm more of like, I've got the Chat GPT premium subscription and I'm content with that. But somebody like you, I would think you would need at least 4 or 5 to keep you going.
Right. So this just as a hint that Gemini 1.5 is in the making, basically, and we will see how it really performs in the end. Just for closing, basically, there's a little sad news. That news is about a virtual world or virtual system called Mozilla Hubs, and it's sunsetting their platform. So it was a WebXR platform where everyone who wanted could make their own 3D worlds for free. Unfortunately, they're not going to maintain that. So in end of May this year, they will sunset. So sad to see this, another platform closing down. But probably we'll have to deal with it.
Do you think that it closed because it was free?
I have no idea.
It wasn't free. They had a paid tier, and I think they stopped making it free.
Well, there
I
was
think it
always
just
a free account, but you could also pay for it. There was both. So
okay. I mean, I personally think
right.
it was just so low that people didn't like it. I mean, it's people want a better experience in VR than that. So that's my personal opinion, and I think that brings us to Chris.
Oh my
Comments?
goodness, John.
Okay,
Comments,
that's
thoughts,
it.
closing? That's it for today, huh?
That's all we had for
Great.
Mozilla Hubs
Yes.
was 1 minute and 30 seconds. Well, you were good while you
Yeah.
lasted, but technology keeps moving.
Well, it's
That's how it
sad,
goes.
and I will always continue to say that I believe that there should be some sort of legislation in effect that says if you create a community and it reaches over a certain number of people, then as the technology company that created it, you have the onus to continue to support that community. It's
Yeah,
I've
especially
seen
I
too
feel like
many.
people are still talking about alt space, which we've all know Microsoft has the money they could have kept that running. And people are still upset about that one. I feel like that was a real community that they would have had some problems with if the legislation like that was in place.
Yep. Well, Chris, closing comments.
Oh, well, I think that was a short one. So let's see what's happening next time.
Yeah, and I hope everyone enjoyed this new short format that we have. And you can see our videos at the Virtual Film Company on YouTube, or it's actually at Virtual Film Company on YouTube. We also have a Facebook channel, and we're here every 2 weeks. Just a heads up, though, that we are thinking of moving to our new and improved studio in our chat. So stay tuned.
Yeah, that studio is looking very good, John. And my closing statement is, wow, wow, wow. Like this stuff that we're looking at, it's like, well, once we see something going on, it's like a week or two later, there's a whole nother slew of things coming out. So this is moving so quickly. So thank you, Chris.
Right. Okay, guys. Thanks
Thank you,
for the
John.
talk. Thanks, guys, for watching out there, and see you in the next one.